Hi, thanks so much for joining us. My name is Natalie from Domum. I have our Principal Architect, Tim Alatorre, our VP, Jenna, and I have our guest speaker, Peter Twohy, founder and Principal Architect of Twohy Architects in Maryland. Hi, Peter. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Natalie. It's very nice to be here. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so Twohy Architects, I founded it 15 years ago, and I do residential design here in Maryland, and I started off doing literally anything that anyone would give me. If you had a basement or a one-room addition, I was doing those. I did a very beautiful front porch that was like about this big, something like that, and then the projects turned out nice, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger, and pretty soon they're $1 million houses, and they're in magazines and all that kind of stuff, and so that's where we are now.
So I should preface, $1 million homes here in California, they're like water. Everything starts off at $1 million. So right. in Maryland, you do the higher end homes.
Exactly. So when I say $1 million homes, I think of anything really. We can squeeze something in at around 800 grand, and it goes up to, my projects go up to maybe 4 million, something like that. And then it kind of depends on how you add up the math. Do you want to include the furniture in that cost, or do you not want to? And if you include everything, then all of my projects are, well over, whatever, 2-3 million. But I was doing architectural numbers.
Right. Yeah. And if you go to your website, I was pulling up here real quick. Twohy-architects.com. You have some beautiful projects on there. So I often refer to Peter as one of the best architects in the country. And in fact, you just told us, we found out you won top 10 architects in Maryland, which is fantastic. And for the last 5-6 years, you won all sorts of design awards on house and service awards. You're well decorated, an award winner.
Exactly, which is great. It's humbling. We've done a really good job somehow of attracting really good clients. And then, when you give clients good decisions to make, and they make good decisions, because really when you see a beautiful home, what you know is that a bunch of people came together. So there was an interior designer, there was a landscape architect, there was a contractor, there was a structural engineer, there were clients who were making consistently good decisions. And I think one of the things that we do is we make that decision-making process a little bit easier for our clients by using virtual reality. Most architects don't do that, to their shame, but because again, what I tell people all the time is my clients have one thing in common with all of them: they're all smarter than I am, right? But I can design a really nice home, and they can't. So they hire me to do that part. And then I show them the designs. 15 years ago when I just started, there was no virtual reality. So I did what every architect does. You roll out the plans and you show them. And then you try to build the picture with words. And I was pretty good at that. But I could see that they were not getting it, 100% not getting it. And the question is, were they getting it at 80 or 70 or some other, but whatever the number was, we needed to get it up to 100 so they can make consistently good decisions throughout the entire design process. And that's what we do.
Yeah, I agree completely. In fact, we just put out a newsletter for all of our top clients. We sent it out to them, talking about the importance of virtual reality. And I think 3D design has really helped a lot over the last couple decades. We can put out some pretty renderings. But once you actually put on those 3D glasses and you're walking through the space and you're experiencing it through time, which I think is the missing piece there, right? We don't just stare at our houses in magazines, we actually live in them. And so when the virtual reality world, you walk through them and you experience them, it's transformative. And it really does empower, like you're saying, it empowers the homeowner, potential homeowner, person who's going to live in that house, to make informed decisions.
We were having trouble getting this one client to understand that this love seat didn't quite fit in her space that she wanted it to fit in. And so she would say like, love seat being 5 feet wide, something like that. She goes, oh, we'll just put 2 chairs there. No, that's the same width. And so she just wasn't getting it. And I showed her a video and she didn't get it. And then she put the goggles on. And the first thing she did is she put the goggles on. She goes, this is amazing. And she's back on,
Right.
and she's super excited. And then she gets over to that area and she goes, oh, it doesn't fit.
Right.
Yes, it doesn't fit. And so there's a difference even between the videos, because I make a nice video for my clients. They can share it with their out-of-town family and friends and all that kind of stuff. But there's even a difference between that, which I thought there wouldn't be, and I was wrong about that. Putting on the goggles changes everything again. So.
Yeah, and right now with sheltering in place, we haven't had clients over to our office to do virtual reality. Hopefully that'll be relaxed soon, and we can bring people over. But also, if our clients own their own glasses, there's ways that we can export and allow them to do it from the comfort of their home as well, which is nice.
But it's not your clients that need to have those goggles. It's their teenage boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
They all have them.
That's true. It was one of the top gifts for Christmas.
Exactly.
So speaking of sheltering in place, that's the reason we're doing this series of videos. Here in California and you in Maryland, we're all experiencing nationwide this nationwide shutdown related to the current pandemic, actually. So maybe talk a little bit about, or we can have that conversation, because we were talking about this perfect storm, and this whole conversation actually started with a call you and I had, which I think is part of the reason we wanted to get you back on here, kind of continue that dialogue, talking about all these different market forces and the different environmental and external influences that are creating this perfect storm, really of opportunity. There's definitely downsides, and there's just really a lot of negative and awful things happening in the country right now. But there's also opportunities, that silver lining in the cloud, that are coming about right now. And so we were talking a little bit about that earlier. And you were just saying that you have some people that have approached you to design new houses these last couple of weeks.
Right. I think it's good to. I mean, I know we don't have to do this. People know, but this pandemic affects people, in a very personal way. It's just one example. My sister, who's a DJ on Sirius XM radio, the folk station, Mary Sue Twohy, and she's really cool. I have a very cool sister. Any case, her mentor passed away.
Oh.
And from COVID-19, and and he was up there in age, and he's one of the people that we're all worried about, and it didn't work out for him. So I see how dark the clouds are. The clouds are dark. There's no question about that. Having said that, there are silver linings, and what people, I think in general, and I've watched videos that you guys have made with the financial advisor and the realtor. And I think people are coming to the same conclusion, which is, our economy going into this was strong. So this is very much unlike any recession that we've had before, anything like that, because, as soon as the pandemic's over, we're just going to kick right back into gear wherever it is that we were. And that was a really good spot. So I don't think people are too concerned about the long-lasting economic impact like they were for previous recessions. This one, I think, is going to be different. And to that end, we're starting to, I had a meeting with a client on Friday, and I don't own a mask. I actually have friends who are getting me a mask. So I wore a bandana, right? So I was the architecto bandito for the meeting.
Right.
And I didn't want to do the first meeting with clients like a Zoom call like this, because there's so much body language that happens that first meeting. People say things like, I think that's a really good idea. And 100% that idea is not so good. And, but if they do the same thing, I think that's a really good idea, and lean in. Oh, okay, so that is a good idea. But we can't do that with video. And then people's body language doesn't translate. Not for me anyway. Maybe it's, I got stuff to learn. Any case, my point is, I did that. I had another meeting last week also with people who are interviewing me to do their house. It's right on the water. I'm super excited about that. And I have a friend, his name's Ed Rami, and he works out of Kennett Square. I don't know that you know Ed, but he's super talented and like forever, however talented he is as an architect, he's even smarter as a person. So if I have any issue with anything, I call Ed. And and this could be like I don't know like which Italian place to go to. Oh, you go to this one. He knows everything. um, and and he just signed up 3 clients in the last 2-3 weeks, and they all said the same exact thing: is they have all this time on their hands, and they're gonna do the projects anyway. So let's just go ahead and get started. And so he went from almost slow to now he's got more work than he can do, which is it's not a bad place to be in a pandemic.
And I think that's a really good point. If you're looking to start a project, especially designing your own home, your dream home, your forever home, it can be really time intensive. There's a lot of things that you want to think through and spend time doing research and that back and forth with the architect. So normally one of our biggest delays in designing a house is waiting for that feedback from the homeowner. We turn things out really quickly and then we wait.
Right.
So if you're really wanting to have time to design your house right and get everything thought through, I mean, what better time than now when you're sheltering in place and you have a bit more free time.
I also like the idea, by the way, of I think people their idea of their home right now is heightened. We're all sheltering in place, and so that kitchen that you kind of like is now bugging you because the blah 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 is whatever, too tall or too wide or whatever the problem is, and you're acutely aware of all of the problems. And probably like I didn't realize that every morning the sun comes streaming in right on my breakfast table, so I just like go over there and I'm doing a crossword for an hour. I love it. And so you're learning the positives that you might not have even known, even if you've lived in your house for a decade or more. So so I like both of those because that just becoming acutely aware to me is part of really your job as the client, is to be that.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was thinking about Jenna, who normally, Jenna, like before this whole shelter in place stuff, you were here in the office like 12 hours a day.
Jenna.
You've seen a lot more of your house than you have in the last couple of years.
My cat has seen me more than she wants, I think.
I doubt it. The cat's going to say, wait a minute, this is working great for me. You're no longer, you can't leave.
I know. Every time we actually have to leave just to go get supplies for food and a shelter, it's she stares at us.
And looks at her watch like, are you serious? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree. I've already planned to like take out a couple of walls, and it's getting a little bit stir crazy with the home project. Like
and your husband's been doing
your
husband's been doing all sorts of yard projects too. So he's
but not finishing them because busy as well. So it's turning into bigger projects.
I think that's an interesting idea though. Even if you're not ready to remodel right now, or you're not ready to move or build a new house, take this opportunity to think about what you like and what you don't like in your house. Write it down. Keep that somewhere safe. That way, when you're ready to move forward in the future, you have that list.
Another thing that I've been doing is like going on realtor.com and finding my exact model, because I'm in like a cookie cutter type home, and then I'm seeing what they did. I'm like, oh, you guys did take out that wall, or like you did do extend that bathroom and stuff. So I'm also, that's another good way for people to figure out what they want to do with their homes, is just by checking out what's going on in the neighborhood too.
Right, what they can do. So the homework assignment that I give every client every time, no exceptions, is to write a list of everything they love about their home today, no changes, and then everything they don't. Even if they, like, let's say they don't like their powder room, but we're not changing it because we're working on the other side of the house or whatever. So I still want to know, because I'm going to walk through the house and I'm going to assume that you like every single thing there that's not on the don't like list. And so you got to write it down if you don't like it. And then so what I'm trying to do is download what's going to make them happy from all different perspectives, from a programmatic perspective, but from a visual perspective too, aesthetic perspective. And I'm trying to get all that in my mind so I can design just for them. And so that list, the better that list, the better the home, period, full stop. So so I, yes, I do have something to do with the design of someone else's home, obviously, but they have a big part. We're collaborators on the design of their home. And so again, the better that list, it's like it makes the diving board springier so we can get to where we need to be. So yes, write that list now while everything is really acute. That's a great idea, Tim.
Yeah, and I think, like you're saying, it's really acute. We're all spending way more time in our houses than we like, and those little things that we've kind of just lived with are now coming to the forefront of, oh, this is really, why am I still living with this? This is more of an annoyance. So right. Like you're saying, I really enjoy in the morning having that sun come in and just be able to have, my breakfast in a nice little warm nook or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing that we talked about was one of the things that to me, I just say this every opportunity I can. I heard this quote, and it was, in the rush to return to normal, let's use this time we have right now, to consider which parts of normal are worth rushing back to, right? So, our friend Anna in San Francisco has learned a little bit about her firm and how she's going to work a little bit differently because the sheltering in place has helped her concentrate and design even that much better because she's not interrupted. So, when she gets into her office, everyone needs her, so she's interrupted constantly. And so it's always about refocusing. So this kind of idea could be used for people's homes, like what's actually working better. So again, let's look at both sides of that coin.
I think the resurgence of the home office and house design is going to happen.
Right. Yep.
People are going to feel the need of, oh yeah, I do need a space to work at home. It will be interesting to see what that new normal is. We've seen right now all the kids are being homeschooled. I'm sure when this is all over, the majority of kids are going to be going back to public school, but there might be some parents who decide, hey, this homeschooling,
this works.
I enjoy it. It works for me and my kids. My sister, we're designing a new house for her. She's homeschooled her kids forever. They live in eastern Wyoming, and the nearest school is, quite the trek away.
Right.
And she's designing her dream house, and in that dream house, they have a little school area, and it's designed for that.
Right.
Home offices. I think it's going to be interesting to see just what shifts happen in design that come out of this. What is that new normal? And also, like you're saying, the practice of architecture, how we as architects approach it, and also how, what's in demand and what's needed. And I really do hope that, coming out of this, Peter and I, two of us, we've been really advocates for VR. This is a great time for architects as well, anybody watching this, to retool. And you have some downtime possibly to mess around with some software and try to figure out your process and what's the workflow to introduce virtual reality into your process.
Yeah, so one of the things right now, I'm about at a half capacity, like what I normally do, I'm doing about half of that. And I'm filling up that time with making that course that you just talked about. Because right now, if you're an architect and you're a little bit slow or a lot slow, I have friends who literally are dead in the water. They have nothing to do. So you have an overabundant amount of time and then a less than abundant amount of money. So what can we do with that circumstance? And surprisingly enough, virtual reality, like upgrading supercharging even your firm to virtual reality is one possible thing to do. Let's make the most of this pandemic, for architecture firms across America, the world, really.
And then, what are some of the things that you're telling your clients? Are they hesitant to move forward? Are they just okay with this process with the pandemic and the unknown economy?
Yeah, I think people are starting to, again, I had 2 meetings last week, one with a prospective client, the home on the water, super excited about that. And then I met with clients that were starting there. It's a whole house renovation for them. and then I meet with another client on Thursday or Friday. So these are, I think people are starting to get like how to work through this, that they're, you know, right now, this next month or so isn't going to be great financially, but after that, it'll be fine. And they're starting to feel that, you know, finally. So I'm seeing the thaw right now in my, but I do remember, you know, we have a project going up on the Jersey Shore, and we have to go for a variance, and you know, there's no place to apply to the variance; they're closed, and
Mhm.
and so projects are, you know, on hold for a lot of different reasons. But again, that, you know, in a week or two or three or whatever it is, we'll get that variance. It's not even a question of whether we will or not. It's just a question of when. And then, uh, you know, other people will, you know, I'm sure projects are going to come out of the woodwork. You know, this is just me being not even, I don't even think this is optimistic. I think this is just realistic, you know, that there's a pent up demand, and, you know, this is what's going to happen. Does that make sense?
So if you're already feeling the thaw, my advice to people in the Maryland area is contact Peter quick. He's gonna be really busy really soon.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And so let's hope I'm even close to right, because it's you know, it's a lot of fun. You know, the you know, designing a dream home is for some, not for most, but for some, is a once in a lifetime experience. And you know, what we try to do is make that experience in every way as beautiful as possible, and then make that home, you know, way better than you're even hoping for. You know, so that's the goal there.
well, thanks so much for coming on today, Peter. Really appreciate your time and sharing with us. And coast to coast, we're all experiencing the same thing right now. So,
Yeah.
interesting to see what the next month brings.
You know, and again, you know, hunker down, wash your hands, do all the kinds of stuff that we know we're supposed to do.
Sanitizer here.
Yeah, sanitizer. I got the disinfectant wipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in any case, so do the things you're supposed to do, and then the better we do that as a country, the sooner we're going to be out of this mess. And so let's just well, let's behave ourselves, at least for the next couple of weeks or so.
Sounds like a good plan.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.